There are 5 things you need to know to achieve the perfect 850 FICO score so that you can qualify for your next home and get a better mortgage rate, saving you tens of thousands of dollars. Additionally, a better score is necessary to start a business in today's market. More and more lenders require personal guarantees for business term loans and business lines of credit. Having excellent credit opens so many doors in your life, allowing you to make moves and really just level up. So let's discuss what the FICO scoring company says will make you a high achiever in the terms of FICO score. This means you're the best of the best and worthy of that perfect FICO score. You might be surprised to see how many credit cards these high achievers typically have and how little they actually use them. Now let's dive into my personal credit report to see how all this works. So you want to head over to myfico.com. So if you don't know about myfico, this is where you want to go to see your free FICO 8 score from Equifax. See, it's displaying Equifax here, Equifax data. So right now I have a 799 FICO score. Now that did drop a few points from just a month ago because my credit utilization went up slightly. So your credit score is going to vary a lot depending on utilization because, as you can see down here, it makes up 30% of your FICO score. It has 30% impact on your FICO score. So your FICO score is made up of 5 different categories, right? Payment history, amount of debt, length of credit history, amount of new credit, and credit mix. And so let's just go one by one, and we'll start with payment history. So at the top, payment history is going to make up 35% of your score. That's the highest portion of your score. And so it says how you've paid your bills in the past, whether you paid on time or late or missed payments, is a very important category of credit data for the FICO score. The more severe, recent, and fraudulent the late payment information is, the greater the impact on your FICO score. So you can see it's divided up into all these categories: late payments on 30 days, late payments on 60 days, derogatory public records, collections, time since most recent late payment, accounts always paid as agreed, late payments 30 days plus in the past year, and then late payments 30 days plus older than the past year. But if you go to the question mark, it tells you that a FICO score high achiever, about 98% of FICO score high achievers have no missed payments at all. All right. And let's go to 60 days late. It also says virtually no FICO score high achievers have a 60-day late payment or worse listed on their credit report. And so you can see I have 3, but we'll get to the bottom and you'll see why those don't affect me so much. Now I have no derogatory public records reported by the credit bureaus primarily include bankruptcies. That's going to be the big one. And so FICO 8 only considers derogatory public records within the amount of $100 or greater. So if anything is below $100, it's not going to show up here. It's not going to be included in the calculation. It says virtually no FICO high achievers have a public record listed on their credit report, and neither do I in this case. It says time since most recent late payment. Now for me, it's been 6 years and 1 month. All right. Now it says here about 98% of FICO score high achievers have no missed payments at all. But those who do, which is me, those who do, the missed payment happened nearly 4 years ago on average. So for me, that's 6 years. You know, anything over 7 years is going to fall off your credit. So it's very close within, months of falling off, less than a year of falling off completely. It's not affecting me nearly at all. As you can see, I'm able to get over 800 score pretty regularly. So it says accounts paid as agreed. I'm at 93%. It says about 98% of FICO score high achievers have no missed payments at all. Payment history is overall the largest factor in determining your score. So that's why it's so important to pay your bills on time. Preferably, you want to pay your statement balance so that you're not accruing any interest on your credit cards, and you want to set that up for automatic payment. Hey, if anybody's having trouble getting derogatories removed from your credit report, I'll provide some free credit dispute letters down below to help you out with that. Let's take a look at amount of debt. Now, amount of debt is equivalent to credit utilization. Those are interchangeable. It accounts for 30% of your FICO score. So this is also huge. It's almost nearly equivalent to payment history. So you definitely want to take a hard look at this. All right. So it says account with balances. I have 10 with balances. And it says right here, FICO score high achievers have an average of 3 accounts carrying a balance. So if you want to be a high achiever, if you want to closely align with high achiever status, you want to be as closely aligned to 3 accounts on your credit utilization that's reporting a balance. I have 10 currently. Now, if you go to total balance on revolving and open-ended accounts, it says most FICO high achievers owe less than $2,500 on revolving and or open-ended accounts such as credit cards, charge cards, and department store cards. And so I currently owe $4,200, but this is really going to depend on your monthly spend typically and your total available credit. For me, it's around $200,000 in available credit. So I think this is just an average that you probably don't need to pay too close of attention to. If you are a higher spender, it's not going to be affecting you in a negative way. But we really want to take a look at revolving utilization. I'm at 3%. And I'm a little high this month. Typically, I'm around the 1% I'm hovering around. But it says here, FICO high achievers have an average ratio of less than 7%. All this talk that you hear about online where they're always telling you, they're always pushing you into that 30% figure, you got to have below 30%. Well, that's simply not the case. And I don't know why they keep reiterating this. It was kind of like if it's reported enough, then it just is true. It just becomes fact. And if you search this, what is the best utilization rate? You're always going to find 30%. You'll find it for days. Multiple pages of Google search results is going to give you 30%. But if you go to the FICO scoring company itself, it clearly says you need below a 10%. I'm looking at what they're telling me is a high achiever. They always have a 7%. If you go below that, you really want to be in the single digits. I think optimum is going to be 1%. That's going to be your best possible. You want to be reporting something because you do get dinged for having a 0% utilization rate. So you do want to report something, just a little bit, just a small fraction of your total available limit. Next is length of credit history. All right. So this accounts for 15% of your score. A little bit less, well, half as much, but it's still going to be important if you want to get into the 800 club. For me, it says average age of accounts is 5 years and 10 months. High achievers have an average of 9 years or more. So this is where I'm slacking. This is where it's going to hurt you a little bit when you're applying for new cards, and it's going to lower your average age of accounts by a little bit every time you apply for a new card. And so that's why a lot of people like to keep their old cards open so that they keep reporting those older accounts, and they always get figured and factored in to their credit report. Now, they also consider the age of your oldest account. So they consider both your average age of accounts of your total accounts, and then that one account that's the oldest. And so mine is 13 years and 5 months. And the high achiever opened their oldest account 25 years ago on average. That's a long time, far longer than I've been in the credit card game. So this is why it's easier for an older person to get a perfect 850 score, or even get into the 800 club for that matter, because they just had more time in the game. They have older accounts that they just been sitting on. All right, next is amount of new credit. And this is where I'm doing terribly. You can see it's completely red here. It has number of recent inquiries. I have 3 inquiries in the past year. And so 70% of FICO score high achievers did not apply for a credit card in the past year. So I have way more than that. Okay. Typically what the high achievers are is what they call in the garden. They're just protecting their score. They're not applying for new credit, or credit seeking is what they call it in the industry. They're laying low and protecting their score. Next is age of most recently opened account. And for me, it's 2 months. So it hasn't been long at all. It's just been 60 days. But a FICO score high achiever opened their most recent account 2 years and 7 months ago. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you guys out there have opened up a new account way more recent than that. You're probably like me. It's probably been, a few months. So a high achiever hasn't opened a new account for about 2.5 years. Let's take a look at credit mix. That makes up 10% of your score. All right. For me, I'm exceptional. So I'm doing great here. And why am I doing great? Because I have 28 revolving accounts. And it says right here, a FICO score high achiever has an average of 11 revolving accounts. So in this category, it does nothing but help you to have more accounts than the high achiever does. So despite what many people may think out in public, that signing up for a bunch of credit cards is going to lower your score, it really is not going to lower your score in the long term. It does nothing but help give you authority and give you more positive marks and payment history, saying that you can handle these available credit limits and you're financially literate. Next is installment loans and mortgages. Now for me, I'm at 19 total. You can see FICO high achievers have an average of 5 installment accounts. So I'm way above that as well. Installment accounts are usually for single large purchases for an auto loan or a home loan. And for bank issued credit cards, now you can see that detail. It says bank issued. So this is not including those store cards that you might be familiar with. Those 5% store cards at H&M and Gap and wherever else. Those don't really count for much. Credit card issuers kind of frown upon that. They're not considering those as like real credit cards. So just realize that. I'm at 19 and it says FICO high achievers have an average of 6 credit cards. If you need installment and revolving accounts to build up your credit, I have plenty of options for you, such as the Kovo Credit Builder Loan Program and the Discover It card, which graduates into the fully unsecured version in just 4 to 6 months. But don't sleep on Ava Finance either, because they offer both installment and revolving accounts in one complete package. So let's just review this. This is what a FICO Score High Achiever has. In payment history, that's 35% of your FICO score. They have no late payments within the past 4 years. For credit utilization, which is 30% of your score, they have less than 7% utilization. For length of credit history, which is 15% of your score, they have at least 10 years of credit history. And I should add, their oldest account in this situation is 25 years old. Now for new credit, that's 10% of your score. They have no new credit cards in the last year. And on average, it's going to be 2.5 years since they've applied for a new card. And credit mix makes up 10% of your score, and a high achiever has 5 installment lines and 6 revolving lines. However, there are many advanced strategies for increasing your credit score. For instance, when is the best time to pay your credit card bill? And how can you help increase the credit score of a loved one who's in your life? Make sure you check out the next video where I show you the 6 credit card hacks to quickly boost your credit score. Thank you for watching.